Hey, it's Karen. First, I just want to say I think it's awesome that you want to take control of your illness and heal. You are a warrior just for watching this video, and I'm really excited to share with you what I've learned. For the past couple months, I've been working on a new ebook called Karen Gordon's Ultimate Candida Diet Survival Guide. And in doing so, I've had to really think about what are the biggest challenges that people who want to be on this diet are facing, and how can I break that down step by step to help people with what they need to do in order to be successful in staying on the diet and addressing those challenges. In this video, I'm going to address the biggest issue that you've told me you need help with, which is how to stay on this diet, how to eat well, and how to stay true to your intention regardless of what social situations you find yourself in, because food is such a prevalent thing in our society, and our socialization really revolves around it. So if you've ever tried to be on any sort of diet, then you know that social situations are the hardest to stick to it with because you have all sorts of temptations. So this is what I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach you based on my experience of 5 years of living on this diet and working with Anne Baroque for many years as a patient of hers, and then more recently in the last couple of years working with her as a colleague and trying to get this message out to people, to as many people as we can, because it is such an important message and a lot of people are looking for this information. So let's get to it. Okay, so food. Our entire lives revolve around it. We've got birthday parties and work lunches and family gatherings and dates and get-togethers and friendly dinners and all sorts of events that all revolve around eating. So what do you do when you're in these situations and you're tempted to eat something that you know you shouldn't be eating, that is not part of the diet, and that will ultimately not serve you? So that's what we're going to discuss, and I have come up with 7 secrets to how to address this issue. So number 1 is educate yourself. Okay, so you're at a restaurant with some friends. What do you order? Well, you can't know what to order unless you have some information. You've educated yourself about what are the best foods you can eat and what are the worst foods you can eat. What would be cheating in a really destructive way, and what would be cheating in a not so terrible way that you can probably get over. So the first tip I'm going to tell you is wherever you go, don't order a big bowl of pasta. That is never a good thing. It will spike your blood sugar and it'll mess you up. So if you have any options to choose from, a big bowl of pasta is probably your worst one. Don't order anything fried. Don't order anything that's full of gluten. Don't eat, a basket full of bread. And try to avoid as much dairy as you can. So those are the biggest things to avoid. Now let's talk about what to do at certain restaurants. So when I go to an Indian restaurant, I know that I can always ask them to make something vegan. So they can substitute the dairy for coconut milk at almost all Indian restaurants. When I go to an Italian restaurant, I know I'm safe because I can always order a piece of fish or a piece of chicken and just, ask them not to put any cheese on it or anything like that. That's something that most Italian restaurants and most American restaurants can do pretty simply. If I'm at a Thai restaurant, I know that I can order brown rice with vegetables and then get the sauce on the side so I can control the amount of sugar. So educating yourself is really important because when you do that, you start to build the confidence that no matter what restaurant you go to, you'll know how to order wisely and you'll know how to order for your health. So that even if they don't have something on the menu that's really legal for you to eat, you can still eat something and be okay. Okay, the second secret is don't be shy with your waiter. Remember that we are living in an era where lots of people are gluten-free, lots of people are dairy-free, lots of people have diet restrictions. So speaking to your waiter about if they can make something different for you, if they can adjust a dish for you, is not going to be really rare for them. They probably get that question a lot these days. So in a way, today, this area that we're living in today is probably easier to be on this diet than at any other point, because society as a whole is just turning so much to different alternatives for their diets, to gluten-free and dairy-free and organic and all sorts of stuff. So don't be shy with your waiter. Ask your waiter what they can do to take a dish that you want and turn it into something that you can eat. You can hold the butter, you can hold the dairy, you can ask them if it's gluten-free. Make sure that you do that. But the second part of this is don't get too neurotic, okay? So it's really important to remember that being neurotic about what you're eating, being anxious about it, allowing what you're going to eat to impede on your social life in such a way that you're nervous about going out and you don't necessarily want to go to dinner because you're nervous about what you can eat and what you can't eat and how it's going to affect you. This kind of thinking and this kind of anxiety is as damaging to you as eating something that might not necessarily be on the diet. You have to remind yourself of that. It's all about balance. So if you don't have a choice, if you need to eat a piece of chicken and it's not organic, don't stress about it. If there's a little bit of cheese on something or a little bit of sugar, just do the best you can, but don't get too stressed out about it, because when you get too stressed out about it, you're actually harming yourself just as much as if you ate that thing that you didn't want to eat. So remind yourself of that. Remember that it's all about balance. Okay, so the third secret is always be prepared. Yes, always be prepared like a Girl Scout. Okay, so let me give you a scenario. So you walk into work and somebody brought in a big box of donuts and everybody's eating them. So you see the donut, you immediately want one. So immediately you feel resentful of your illness. You feel like a victim. You feel sad about the fact that you're sick and you can't have it. You feel sorry for yourself and you feel generally pissed off because you really want that donut. So in a situation like this, it's really, really hard to resist that temptation. So what you need to do is always be prepared with an alternative that you can eat that will satisfy you. What I like to use for this is Namaste Foods sugar-free, gluten-free muffin mix. So what you do is you make a few batches at home and keep some in the freezer at all times. So you can always grab one and go. So make sure you always have some on you. Like travel with muffins is what I'm saying. You should travel with muffins. Always put one in your purse. If you're a guy, put one in your laptop bag or whatever it is that you have. And always have some muffins on you. You can make these taste really good. You can make them different. You sweeten them with stevia or xylitol or just like sugar, which is made of chicory root. And you can make them different. You can use canned pumpkin. You can use blueberries. You can use cacao powder and cinnamon, vanilla, all sorts of different ways to make them different and delicious. If you have a muffin on you and you see those donuts, you can at least eat something that is sweet to you, that tastes good, that will substitute for the donut and make it so that you don't have to feel sorry for yourself and you don't have to get angry and you don't have to rebel, which is the most important thing, because when you go down that downward spiral of those emotions, a lot of people will rebel and just say, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to eat it. It's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to affect my health, but it is a big deal, and you don't want to eat that donut. So always be prepared. Travel with muffins. Okay, so secret number 4 is, it's all about the frame. Are you a victim of your illness? Or are you a badass warrior? This is a really important difference, and depending on which one you choose, it will affect the actions that you choose as well. And so if you're feeling like a victim, if you're feeling like, oh, I hate the fact that I have this illness and my life sucks and why do I have to have this and why do I have to be sick and other people get to eat what they want to eat and I don't get to, you're going to want to rebel and you're going to want to, fight the power and go and do something that you're not supposed to do and eat something you're not supposed to eat. But if you instead take on the frame of, I am a warrior, I have made a conscious choice to reduce the infection and inflammation in my body, and I am doing so in a very responsible, proactive way that is going to ensure that my health continues in a stable fashion and that I move toward recovery, then you're coming from a very different place. The frame that you have for why you're not eating that donut is very different than the frame that you have if you're saying, this sucks, I'm a victim, why do I have to have this disease? So if you're taking the proactive frame, if you're saying I'm a warrior, then it's a lot easier to resist because you know that this is a conscious choice that you're making. This is something that you're doing for yourself, for your health. It's a responsible and intentional choice. If you're coming from a victim place, then you feel like something is being imposed upon you. And whenever a person feels like something's being imposed upon them, they want to fight it. They want to rebel. So the choice that you make is really a matter of which frame you're operating from. So pay attention to which frame you're operating from, and make sure that you are choosing the frame that is going to serve you the most, which is the warrior frame, not the victim frame. Okay, number 5. Does your stomach want it, or do your emotions want it? This is a really important question to ask yourself when you're out somewhere with friends or colleagues, or you're at a family gathering and you really feel like you want to eat. Because oftentimes what we do is, it's like there's this peer pressure, just this circumstantial peer pressure, because we're at a social gathering that's revolving around food, and so we want to eat just because other people are eating. But the real question is, are we actually hungry? A lot of times the answer is no, we're not hungry, and we're just eating because other people are eating, and it's just something to do. So if you really take a minute and slow yourself down and ask yourself, am I actually hungry for this? Many times the answer will be no. And then it's a matter of holding your own. It's a matter of building the confidence to say, just because there's other people here eating and I'm at a social event, doesn't mean that I need to be eating in order to be socializing. You can, in fact, be having an even better time socializing without food in your mouth and without thinking about the food, and just paying attention to what people are talking about and what they're doing, and the interaction, not the food. Sometimes the answer will be, yes, I'm actually hungry and I need to eat something right now, and if I don't, I'm going to get lightheaded and starve, and it's going to be awful. So if that's the answer, then choose something on the menu that's not as bad as something else. Again, avoid the bowls of pasta, avoid the fried foods. Find something that's okay, that will satisfy your appetite, and don't get too obsessed about it. Don't be too neurotic about it. Just have a little snack to tide you over until you can get home and eat something that's better. And enjoy yourself and have fun at your event, because if you allow the anxiety and the fear about what will I eat and will I eat something I'm not supposed to eat, get in the way of your experience, you're not going to be able to stick to the diet. If you want to be on this diet, you have to give yourself a little bit of leeway. You have to give yourself a little space to be human. A little bit rope, but not enough rope to hang yourself. And it really is a slippery slide, because it's very easy to begin to make up excuses and say, well, I was here and there wasn't anything, so I had a big bowl of fries. And then I was here and I was hungry and I was out and there wasn't anything to eat, so I had an ice cream cone. So you have to really monitor yourself and police yourself, and really you want to cultivate your bullshit meter, because a lot of times we bullshit ourselves and we say, oh, I didn't have a choice. But a lot of times we do have a choice, and we can stop and ask ourselves, is this something that I really need, that my stomach wants, or am I just eating to eat? Am I just eating because everyone else is eating? So pay attention to what you're saying to yourself to justify whether you're going to stay on the diet or not. Because you have to keep your intention in mind, and what your intention is to heal. Number 6 is reset your palate. So something really awesome happens when you've been on this diet for about 6 months, which is that your palate resets. Your body gets accustomed to not having as much sugar in your system. It gets accustomed to not having all the gluten in your system. And what begins to happen is that your body becomes so sensitive to the taste of sugar that you can have a tiny little bit of ketchup. And ketchup is something that we don't normally associate with sugar, but there's actually a lot of sugar in ketchup. You can have a little bit of ketchup and feel like, wow, this is so sweet, there's so much sugar in this. And whereas previously you never would have even noticed it, because you were so used to just barraging your body with sugar and sugar and sugar. So that's a really cool thing that happens once you're on this diet for a while. And then what will begin to happen as a result of resetting your palate is that when you do eat something sweet, just the littlest bit of it will seem so sweet, so over the top sweet, that you won't need as much as you would have needed in the past to feel satisfied. Like when I go out with my daughter, let's say I take her out for frozen yogurt, I will definitely have a lick of it. I'll just have a little bit. And I do that because if I don't taste it, then I'll feel deprived. But all I need is one little taste. If I have one little taste, it's so much sugar in my system that my body's like, yes, and it feels like it gets that whole, all the pleasure sensors go off, that normally it would take like a whole bag of M&Ms to achieve that feeling if, this was like 6 years ago before I'd gone on the diet. And don't worry if this hasn't happened for you yet, because it will, and it takes some time. Sometimes it takes 6 months, sometimes it takes a little bit more than 6 months, but it will happen for you. So remember that the longer you're on this diet, the more effective it will be, the more effective your ability to reset your palate. And when your body comes to a different set point for sugar, you'll begin to notice what a drug it is when you have some. You'll feel it like you just injected heroin. Like it'll be a total rush in your system, and you'll realize how destructive sugar actually is, and that it really genuinely is a drug. And so it's a really good thing that this happens in your system, that you really do reset your palate, and your body begins to prefer food that is healthy. Your body begins to prefer food that is clean because your system is clean. Okay, so number 7 is train yourself in the art of selective perception. In other words, because I don't eat bread on this diet, I don't see bread. Like I don't see it. So if I'm sitting at a table at like a restaurant with friends and they bring a basket of bread at the beginning of the meal, I don't even see the bread. It's like it's there, but it might as well be a napkin because it's not food. As far as I'm concerned, bread is not food. As far as I'm concerned, sugar is not food. So you really want to train yourself in perceiving what it is that you can eat as food and what it is that you can't eat as just like another object in the room. It doesn't even exist as food for you because it's just so outside of the boundaries of what you're willing to put in your body. This is really, really helpful, and in a lot of ways it'll come naturally, but it's good to be aware of this as a skill that you can cultivate if you put your attention on it. You really can do that. You can really train yourself to not even see sugar, not even see gluten, not even see dairy as food. And for me, this skill has come in really handy as a single mom because my daughter is not on the same diet as me. And though I wish she was because it's such a healthy diet, I do let her eat a little bit of dairy and I do let her eat some sugar because she is a kid. And if I wasn't able to do that, then it would be extremely difficult for me to stay on this diet because there's food in my house that I can't eat. I open the fridge and sometimes there's yogurt and sometimes there's, a muffin for her and something sugary. And I don't eat it. I don't even see it. It doesn't even exist for me. So I want you to begin to put your awareness on doing that. Learn how to cultivate not seeing the food that you can't eat as food. Just change your perception so that it suits you and it serves you in your ability to be on this diet. Okay, so there you have it. Master these 7 steps and your days of giving into temptation will be a thing of the past. You will be a master at this diet and you will be unstoppable. You'll be on your way to healing. And I really do think that you can do it. And the reason why I know that is because I've been doing it. So let's go over the 7 steps again. Number 1 is educate yourself. Always know what the worst thing is that you can eat and what's the best thing that you can eat. Always know what's available at different kinds of restaurants and begin to build that repertoire for yourself of what you can have here, what you can have there, and make choices as best you can. Number 2 is don't be shy with the waiter. Ask for what you need and you'll usually get it. We're living in a time where a lot of people are asking waiters to make them something special because there's so many dietary restrictions these days. So ask him if he can do something for you. The worst they can say is no, and you can find something else on the menu that'll work. Number 3 is be prepared. Travel with muffins. Number 4, it's all about the frame. Are you a victim or are you a warrior? Number 5, does your stomach want it or do your emotions want it? Ask yourself this question before you eat anything in a social situation, and you'll find that a lot of the times you don't need to eat it. You can hold your own and have a good time without having to eat whatever's in front of you. Number 6, reset your palate. This is a great thing that happens once you've been on the diet for a while, usually around the 6-month point, where you can begin to not need the same amount of sugar that you used to need and not even like it, not even want it, and not crave the kind of foods you used to crave because your system is so clean and so healthy. And number 7, train yourself in the art of selective perception. Don't see foods you can't eat as food. Just see them as a bowl of fake fruit on the table. It's not for you. It's not something you can touch. The better you get at doing this, the easier it will be to maintain your diet and not give in to temptation. So there you have it, and please stay tuned for more videos coming up with more solutions for the biggest problems that you have right now in staying on the diet. I hope this was useful for you guys. And please leave a comment down below, and let's get this conversation started. I would love to hear your opinion on what you think, and if these steps are working for you, and if you have anything else to add. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye.